the importance of fishing regulations and their benefits to fishermen. We are extremely lucky in the beautiful by nature Turks and Caicos Islands. We have some of the healthiest populations of lobster, conch, and fish in the entire Caribbean region. But if we want to maintain these fisheries and keep making money, we have to work together. Each year, we need to leave enough lobsters, conch, fish, and other species in the water so they can reproduce and keep replenishing their populations. Together, we must also protect the habitats where these species live. In particular, our coral reef, seagrass beds, and mangroves. Without these important habitats, we will not have healthy populations of lobster, conch, or fish that we can catch. In the Turks and Caicos Islands, we manage fisheries and protect habitats through a combination of closed seasons, size limits, national parks, bans on catching certain species, bans on damaging the environment, and bans on using certain fishing techniques. These rules are in place to keep our fisheries and environments healthy and to guarantee that we can continue fishing. So, if you fish, it is important that you know the rules and regulations. Closed seasons. Closed seasons limit the amount of fishing each year and give species the chance to recover. Having a closed season ensures that a population is not reduced below a level where it cannot replenish itself. Typically, closed seasons also protect species during the times of the year when they breed, so that we leave them undisturbed during the most important months of reproduction. Size limits. We need to let species grow big enough to reproduce. Minimum size limits ensure that each lobster, conch, or Nassau grouper that we catch has had the chance to breed. For some species, we also have maximum size limits. Once it is above a certain size, it cannot be caught. The bigger they are, the more juveniles they produce. This means that for some species, like turtles, we have to protect the bigger ones too. Bans on species. Some species are too rare, too fragile, or too important for the environment, and therefore we are not allowed to catch or disturb them. This includes whales, dolphins, manatees, and certain species of turtle, which are all very rare, and also parrotfishes and sea cucumbers, which keep the environment healthy. Bans on fishing techniques. In Turks and Caicos, we are not allowed to use any fishing technique that damages or kills the animals and plants that form marine habitats. For this reason, using explosives, bleach, or any other chemicals is banned. Gill nets are also banned because they catch and kill too many juvenile fish and therefore reduce populations too quickly. National parks. The Turks and Caicos Islands have a network of national parks and other areas where fishing is not allowed. These areas are extremely important for fisheries because they make sure that a proportion of the stock cannot be fished. Lobsters, conch, and fish in national parks are left to increase in numbers, grow big, and reproduce. Thanks to national parks, fishing grounds are supplied with more and bigger lobsters, conch, and fish that we can catch. Spiny lobster. There is a closed season for spiny lobsters. You cannot catch lobsters from the 1st of April to the 31st of July. This corresponds with the time of the year when lobsters reproduce. When the season is open, you can catch lobsters if they are 3 1/4 inches or more. Measuring from the groove between the horns to the end of the back shell. The reason behind this regulation is that we do not want to catch juveniles, but instead we want to let them grow big enough to reproduce. To help reproduction, it is illegal to keep lobsters that are carrying eggs. Returning these females back to the sea lets the eggs mature, hatch, and contribute to the future stock. It is also illegal to use any chemicals to catch lobsters. This includes bleach, joy, and gasoline because they damage the corals and other animals and plants that grow on the seafloor. Queen conch. Throughout the Caribbean, populations of queen conch have almost disappeared, and in many countries, it is illegal to catch them. To protect the population, all conch that we catch in the TCI must be at least 7 inches long. This minimum size ensures that each conch has a chance to reproduce before it is caught. This rule helps to maintain the fishery for future years. Nassau grouper. Nassau grouper is endangered throughout the Caribbean. In some countries, Nassau grouper has been fished so heavily that it has disappeared. In particular, fishing spawning aggregations of Nassau grouper has caused populations to collapse. During their breeding season, most adult Nassau groupers migrate to form large aggregations to spawn. Fishing these aggregations removes too many fish, disrupts spawning, and does not leave enough adult fish to replenish the population. Many spawning aggregations have been fished out and have disappeared altogether. Once again, we are very lucky in the Turks and Caicos. We still have Nassau grouper, and we are still allowed to catch them. However, to help maintain the population and protect their spawning aggregations, there is a closed season for Nassau grouper from the 1st of December to the 28th of February. This is the most important breeding period for Nassau grouper. At other times of the year, you can catch Nassau grouper as long as they are big enough. For commercial fishermen, Nassau grouper have to be at least 17 inches long, but for recreational fishermen, the minimum size is 21 inches. This helps to avoid catching juveniles. There is no maximum size for commercial fishermen, but if recreational fishermen catch Nassau groupers that are bigger than 35 inches, then they need to put them back. The big groupers are particularly important because they reproduce more and help to sustain the population. Snappers. Except for deep water red and black snappers, you can only catch snappers if they are at least 7 inches long. This helps to limit the amount of juveniles caught. Bonefish. Bonefish must be at least 20 inches long. This lets bonefish get big enough to reproduce before we catch them. Parrotfish. Parrotfish are one of the few species on coral reefs that eat algae. By grazing areas with their beaks, parrotfish prevent algae and seaweed from overgrowing reefs and keep areas clean so that corals and other organisms can grow. In countries throughout the world where parrotfish have been fished too heavily, the once healthy reefs have disappeared, the corals have died, and almost everything has been replaced by algae. To protect our coral reefs and all the fish and other animals that depend on them, in the Turks and Caicos Islands, it is illegal to catch any species of parrotfish. Turtles. There are 2 main species of turtles in the Turks and Caicos Islands, green and hawksbill. Other species, like loggerhead turtles, are very rare, so we are not allowed to catch them. Because hawksbill turtles are also quite rare, we have a closed season from the 1st of August to the 31st of March, which helps to reduce the number of hawksbill caught every year. However, green turtles can be caught year-round. Both green and hawksbill must be taken to shore alive. To catch a turtle, its shell needs to be at least 18 inches long. This protects the very young turtles and gives them a chance to grow. We also need to protect the bigger adult turtles that reproduce and sustain the population. For this reason, turtles bigger than 24 inches need to be put back in the water. Adult female turtles return to lay eggs on the same beach where they were born. Female turtles crawl out of the sea, dig a nest, lay their eggs, and bury them before going back to the sea. This process is very important to maintain their populations, and therefore it is illegal to disturb turtle nests, to take their eggs, and to catch or disturb turtles when they come on land to nest. By fishing responsibly and following the regulations, fisheries in the Turks and Caicos Islands will remain healthy and provide good livelihoods for both current and future generations. Thank you.